Hello, my name is Hakon, and welcome back, all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados, for yet another riveting episode of Fighting Fantasy Frolics and Fun. As I have decided, it being so long since my last playthrough video for various reasons, that I've chosen to abandon my previous playthrough of Portal of Evil and move on to one I have actually been looking forward to for a while, which is the Vault of the Vampire. Um, so I hope I apologize for that, of course, for the ones who were looking forward to more Portal of Evilness. But there you go. You do need a bit of sort of continuance in these videos and playthroughs. Otherwise, you lose the thread completely, and you may as well just start over completely. So. And as you obviously will have noticed, I do have less time to actually make these videos for various reasons. So, in any case, Vault of the Vampire today. But first of all, I will make a little shout out to a new Patreon subscriber. I've got somebody calling themselves Nicodemus Sivola joining my Patreon. Thank you very much. And Sivola, I suppose, is a Finnish name. Nicodemus could be a Finnish name, I suppose. Thank you very much. I would say thank you in Finnish, but I just realized I don't actually know how to say thank you in Finnish, owing to the fact I've never been to Finland. I do always make it a point when I go out traveling to learn some of the local language, but I've never had a chance to go to Finland. So there you go. Right, so I'm going to change the view to my desk now, if I can remember the right button. There we are. And as you can see, the T is back as well, for those who have missed the T. And theoretically, of course, that should increase my chances of survival, because as we know, if there are some things that vampires shun, it's garlic, crucifixes, and Earl Grey tea. So let's see how that goes. Oh, and mirrors, obviously. Mirrors. Yeah, they don't like mirrors. So Vault of the Vampire, 1989. Let's see. Oh, I do need my reading glasses with. I've got to that sort of age. And of course, the yeah, well, the type in the fighting fantasy books isn't too small. It's actually quite a decent size, but my focus is about there. I suppose that is okay. Maybe I'll move it up just a little bit. I do apologize. I'm adjusting my video stream recording settings while actually making the video now, but needs must. At least it is nice to have the options. So I'm going to be, let's see. I need to move the video, some windows out of the way here so I can actually see what I'm doing. So that's this way and that's that way. So I want to be able to see the map reasonably well. So that's about there. And a little bit above the map. So maybe there is about right, I think. Right. I do guess that the theme of this particular game book is somewhat Dracula inspired, and as it just so happens, this is actually a coincidence. It was not planned to be like that, because I had actually forgotten that this was the next book in the series when I sat down today and decided to make another episode. I am actually just listening to the audiobook of Bram Stoker's Dracula right this very moment. Well, not right this moment, but these days, I should say. Right, so this is Vault of the Vampire by Keith Martin and illustrations by Martin McKenna, so who's also done some other sterling work in the Fighting Fantasy series. As usual, of course, I'm going to have dice around. I'm usually going to ignore them because, as you know, that's not the actual. If you ignore randomness in this, the game mechanics of it, then of course it's still a puzzle. It's still something that needs to be solved and got through in other ways. So, and that is the exciting bit. Let's see, magic. There is some magic in this one. It says, during your adventure, you may find some magic items, although at first you may not realize that they are magic, nor even be sure what they do. Such items may, rarely, give you the ability to cast a magic spell. If you find such an item, you will be instructed in its use in a particular paragraph. To begin with, however, you are not a mage, but a brave warrior, and you must overcome your enemies by your wits and courage and the use of your sword. So, all the usual stuff. Battles, standard, I guess. Fighting more than one creature, standard, luck, standard. Restoring skill, stamina, luck, and faith. Oh, there's a faith score in this as well. And I suppose there was something similar, wasn't there, in House of Hell, where you could actually get frightened out of your wits. Maybe there's something going on there as well. So yeah, it says that your faith may be shaken by certain perils during your adventure, but it may also be increased when you are victorious in very dangerous battles and when you find certain objects or relics of good. Your faith score can be increased above its initial value. You will find out exactly how faith works when you encounter certain creatures during your adventure, and you will also be instructed about this on the relevant pages. Now, what is my initial faith? Does it say here? Roll 1 die, add 3 to this number, and enter the total in the faith box. Okay, I will use faith because it says a game mechanic is different now. So I've got 8 faith just for starters. So I'm going to put here faith. Oops. Am I running out of... there's supposed to be more... Oh, there we are. Faith 8. Right. I'll keep track of that if needed and ignore it if that seems feasible. The usual stuff, you know. Right. So how have you been since last time we met? It's been a while, hasn't it? I hope you've been fine. All of you, all of my regular viewers. Afflictions. Let's find out about afflictions. Not yours, but it says here in the book, it says afflictions. So it says here, the adventure you will embark on is very hazardous. Monsters and traps are not the only dangers you will face. You may find yourself beset with certain afflictions at some stage, curses, or rather disadvantages of an even more sinister nature. We won't spoil your fun by telling you exactly what these are. Suffice it to say that if you suffer one or more afflictions, you will be instructed about their effects in the relevant paragraphs. Fortunately, it is possible to rid yourself of them if you are brave, wise, and lucky. Afflictions must be recorded in the afflictions box, blah, blah, blah. Yes. Right. That's all fine and dandy then. Equipment. Start your adventure with a bare minimum of equipment. You may find other items. Hint on play. Your journey will be perilous. Yes, and you may well fail on your first attempt. Make notes and draw a map. There you go. Not all areas contain treasure. Many merely contain traps and creatures, etc., etc. Lock points are precious, it says here. Not all books point that out. The one true way to success in adventure involves minimizing risk. Any player, no matter how weak his or her initial dice rolls, should be able to struggle through to the final achievement and glory, it says here, which usually is false advertising, as we know, apart from in the very first books. May the luck of the gods go with you on the adventure ahead. Clean character sheet, nice. Right, let's start with the background. So, rumors of great wealth and treasure have lured you west of Femfrey and the old world to the forbidding land of Moristatia, home of unscalable peaks clad in ice and snow, obscured by great swathes of freezing mist. The air is cold and damp, and you are dressed in furs to keep out the chill. hunched in a swaying coach heading north towards Mordvania. You wonder whether any of the rumors you have heard have any truth in them. People hereabouts are poorly fed and clothed, and this hardly seems a place of great riches. Still, perhaps that means that the treasures are still hidden, and that the local folk haven't found them. You are aroused from your reverie as the coach creaks to a halt. The coachmen open the doors and begin lowering trunks and bags from the roof. You step out into a murky twilight. A thick winter fog is drawing in round the little coaching village of Leverhelven, where you will rest tonight. The tavern is small and hardly luxurious, but the food is hot and the mulled wine is spiced and refreshing. But the local people, wary of strangers, talk little. After you enter, the tavern door is barred and the windows are already shuttered. The place has a strange name, the Heart's Blood, but this doesn't look like hunting country, except for those seeking bears or wolves for their pelts. You ask the tavern keeper how the inn got its name, and a deathly hush descends in the room. He turns away, refusing to speak to you. You wonder how a polite and innocent question can have made him react in such a way. What's more, a man sitting by the fire turns round and spits at your feet. An old woman, swathed in shawls and a peasant smock, looks over at you and says, "Foreigners don't know no better." You take up, I suppose that's not the right accent for this area, is it? Foreigners don't know no better. Something like that? Yeah, let's go with a sort of a try for that sort of faux Transylvanian one. You take her over a drink and asks her to tell you more. At least she is talking to you, which is more friendly than anyone else in here is. She gulps greedily at the warm wine. "Tain't no Heart's Blood, stranger. We were never called that till they changed the sign outside. 'Tis the Heart's Blood, Cheart. That's what too many folk round here has given up, their Heart's Blood." It's a bit weird because you're sort of in sort of mock Transylvanian setting, and it looks like this lady is trying to speak Cockney, but yeah. The low murmur of voices that had begun once more is completely silenced. Many people are casting fierce looks at you, and the old woman and the barman bellows at her to be silent. But her face is flushed with the warmth of the wine, and she says she will not be unheard. "'Tis the Count. Damn his black heart. Folk vanish from the village, they do, and are never seen again. The Count takes them up to the castle, to be sure, and there they die a terrible death. Terrible. There's folk as have heard the screams from the place, screams as from the souls in hell itself." Now tears run down her old weathered face. "Didn't he take my granddaughter only yesterday? Didn't we see the coach and the headless horseman in the village? My poor little Natasha, such a beautiful, gentle girl, taken by the fiend himself, and not a man in this God-forsaken place brave enough to go to the castle and save her." Embarrassed voices murmur around the room as sparks fly from the fire. The crackling of the burning wood seems to emphasize the old woman's desperate plea. "I beg you, sir, to rescue her. She is only 17 and she has done no harm to anyone." She bursts into tears again. The last line was actually narration. She bursts into tears again. A tall red-haired man gets up from a table opposite and approaches you. You see he has only one arm, the right sleeve of his tunic being pinned up to his chest. "Stranger, I take you for a wanderer, a seeker after adventure. What old Svetlana says is true. The Count is a terrible and evil soul, and Castle Heidrich is a place of horror. I would have tried to slay him myself, but for one obvious reason." You nod as he glances down at his empty sleeve. "Will you help us? From my own days as a warrior, I have some gold put by, and it's yours gladly if you will help." The eyes of all present turn to you, imploring your assistance. You are about to nod your agreement to this proposal when the door of the tavern bursts open. The people inside cry out in fear as an icy blast whips through the room. Outside in the mist, you can make out a black coach with 4 jet-black steeds prancing and whinnying, and in the doorway stands a spectral figure. Bony fingers extend from black sleeves, and he beckons you. But he says nothing. How could he? He has no head. Now turn to paragraph 1. Okay. So it seems like this story here is mixing up. Well, this beginning bit in the tavern is so extremely cliche. It's almost painful by now. But yeah. Headless Horseman, if that's not part of the Dracula story, as far as I know. So that's a different one. That's Sleepy Hollow, isn't it? Anyway. Paragraph 1. Okay, so let's see. Let's start my mapping, the all-important mapping. Make sure I got that mouse doesn't need to be in shot. The T needs to be in shot, and my map needs to be in a reasonable shot as well. Paragraph numero 1. Right. You follow the beckoning figure outside into the swirling mists. It leaps up to the driver's seat of the black coach, and the carriage door swings open. The steeds prance expectantly, their breath steaming in the cold air. Will you attack the Headless Horseman? Get in the coach. Ignore the coach and ask a local person how to get to the castle. Now, it sounds like the most obvious option now is to get into the coach. Attacking him is surely a way to end the game right at the very beginning. If you walk to the castle, I am guessing you will be overrun by wolves. So the only safe way to get to Castle Heidrich, not Dracula, I almost said Dracula there, Castle Heidrich is probably in the coach. So 201 174 or 148. So coach, attack, and walk. Let's call it walk. So I'm going to get in the coach, 174. You clamber into the coach, and the horses set off at a gallop, making no sound as they move. You settle back into a comfortable seat draped in black. Looking through the heavy purple curtained windows, you see nothing outside but thick, swirling fog. But the wolf howls you hear send shivers down your spine. Roll 1 die and add 2 to the number rolled. If the total is less than or equal to your faith, turn to 223. Okay, so faith was 8, and I roll a 4 plus 2, which is 6, so it's less than my faith. So then I go to 223. 223. If the total is greater than your faith, you continue your journey until the coach stops close by the castle and allows you to dismount before vanishing into the fog. Turn to 362. Okay, so just go with 362. So we are going to 223 because we managed to roll our faith. Suddenly you feel a chill inside the carriage, and there, slowly appearing before you, is a ghost. The spectral shape of a tall man with wavy black hair and green eyes, his figure almost covered by a voluminous black and purple cloak, sits smiling opposite you. The Count is expecting you, he smirks, although your stay will be a very short one, I fear. It sits back and continues to smile in a leering, mocking way. Then the carriage lurches abruptly, and the ghostly apparition springs forward at you. Roll 1 die and add 4 to the result. Okay, so this is a test of faith again. Still less than my faith. Yeah, okay. Let's see, that's faith plus 2. 3, 2, 1. Faith plus 4. If it's greater than your faith, go to 270. 272. Okay. 3, 2, 1. The spectral creature lunges at you, but his hand stops short of your neck and he hisses in frustration. Your faith has protected you from his attack. Now the focus looks off again. What is... maybe I should move it up a little bit. What's more important, you think, to look at the book or to look at the map? I'm just going to make the map a little bit fuzzy then. So if I go and... oh, there we are. Configure video. And okay, so now the map is going to be a little bit fuzzy, but the book is going to be... yeah, let's do it like that. Right. Your faith has protected you from his attack. He wraps his cape about him and simply vanishes. Increase your faith by 1 point. So we got faith plus 1, and you continue. So my faith is now increased to 9 points. There we are. You continue your journey safely until the coach stops at the foot of a hill and you descend. The coach races off into the heavy mists and is soon out of sight. Turn to 362 as I expected. So we go down there, 362. You walk along as far as the base of a narrow trail which leads up a steep incline, and suddenly you walk out of the fog into a completely clear area. Starkly illuminated by the three-quarter moon stands the brooding castle Heidrich. You can walk up and enter the half-open front gates, or walk around the outside to see what you can make of the place. I don't know. I think I would want to have a little snoop around first. Risky though that may sound. So 50 outside, or 3, 2, 6. Gate. You skirt carefully around the building. You have approached from the south and can make out some features of what seems to be a 2-story building. In the southwest and southeast corners are... sorry, there was a full stop there. A 2-story building. In the southwest and southeast corners are the towers whose spires loom above the slate roofs over the stone walls. Bats flit into and out of the southwest tower belfry. The arrow slits in the towers are too high and too narrow to climb in through. You can see lights on the ground floor from windows in the west and east sides, but heavy drapes prevent you from seeing anything within the castle itself. Roll 1 die and add 3. If the total is less than or equal to your faith, turn to 99. It will be by default because my faith is now 9. So let's do that. If it's greater than your faith, you continue walking around and arrive back at the main gates without finding any other likely means of getting into the place. Okay, so it looks like faith is actually used to shape some of your options. Oh, 326. Sorry, that is actually the gates. There we are. 99. Although there is a quality of indescribable evil about the castle, you can also sense some powerful good in the place. Now, there's a problem. I mean, not problem, but after having started reading Dracula by Bram Stoker, the thing about Dracula is, of course, that the person approaching the castle in the beginning, Jonathan Harker, he doesn't know what he's going to or who he's going to. I mean, not in the sense that he knows exactly who that person is and what kind of person he is or what's going on. And that completely changes your perception of things, and also it adds so much more subtlety, I suppose, as well to his thoughts and descriptions of his experiences on the way. I mean, even just the coach trip right at the beginning of the book is quite evocative, whereas in this one it's not subtle at all, because you already sort of established that there's evil in the castle, you have to defeat it. Yeah, there's no mystery, there's no true, in many ways there's no true tension in a way, because you already know what's going to happen. It feels like it's the uncertainty that that creates that special tension. So, but yeah, thematically, of course, still interesting, but it does lack the subtlety of the original, as it were. Although there is a quality of indescribable evil about the castle, which is not subtle at all, could have been described differently, you can also sense some powerful good in the place. From the center of the north wall, there is something. Is it magic, perhaps? Since you can't get into this part of the castle directly, you'll have to enter the main gates to find out. Turn to 326. So I've been given a little clue here. From the center of the north wall. So because of your strong faith now, you've been given a clue to look in the center of the north wall, and you might find something there that will help you in your quest. So that is what I will do once I get the chance of going there. First we go to 326. You put your shoulder to the heavy wooden gates, and they open with a creak which sets your nerves on edge. You walk through a small entrance area into a large courtyard. Facing you, you observe great brass decorated doors across the courtyard and past the entrance to what looks like a family crypt. There are also two doors to the west of you, and a door just around the corner, which opens into a southern part of the main building. Will you head for the brass doors to the north, open the door in the south, open the upper west door, or open the lower west door, or head for the crypt? So there's lots of options now. All of a sudden, I'll have to put them up and make a bit of space for them. So I'll put them up here. Obviously, this is a choke point, 326. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options. Okay. So we got 2, 18, 3, 7, 7, 5, 4, 9, 0. Crypt, lower west, upper west, south, and north. Now I'm supposed to go to the north, according to the... Oh, I think my blue pen is starting to... I think... Did that happen last time I was playing as well? That my blue pen was starting to get smudgy? I think it may have been, actually. You know what? I'll just keep this around for the red pen, and I'll use this blue pen. Actually, the pencil isn't that great yet. I'll just use these ones. Right, so I'm going to head for the brass doors to the north, which is what the clue was, or the hint was leading me to do. Number 2. Because there was no obvious way to get to the north wall here, was there? Courtyard, yeah. Yeah. Now I'm going to head for the north. Okay, so you push open the brass doors and walk into a well-lit entrance hall, which is deserted. Floor mosaics and wall hangings of plain black and red give the chamber a somber appearance, and for a moment you think you heard a faint moaning sound. There are 3 exits from the hall. Will you leave through the door to the north, corridor to the east, or door to the west? Again, I'm going to head north to see if I can find what this good is that I may have felt outside. So 101 north, 256 east, or 60 west. So 101. Oh, that was 102. Okay, let's try again. You push open the north door in the entrance hall and see a brightly lit corridor stretching out before you. The floor is tiled and there are small watercolor paintings hung on the walls. Before you there is a door on the east wall, and further along one on the west wall. Between the two there is a side passage to the east. There's also a door facing you at the north end of the corridor. So north, east, west, and east passage. So there's a lot of it's almost a kind of maze. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to again go straight for the north door. 1, 7, 2, 2, 2, 1, 3, 5, 3. Because I don't have any other indications of where to go. So north, east, west, passage, east. So I'm going to go 3, 3, 2 and see what I find there. This door has a small silvered lock. Do you have a silver key? I do not. If you have, turn to the paragraph whose number is the same as the number on the key. If you haven't, you can't open this door. You can either go back and open the west door in the corridor if you haven't already done so, or go down the eastern side passage. So this one requires a key. Silver key. Okay. So then I can go to 221 or 3, 5, 3. So obviously I've already missed something crucial, a silver key. Maybe it wasn't a crypt. Quite possible, I suppose. I could have done the crypt on my way, I guess. Maybe the crypt contains the kryptonite that I need. Right. Yeah, I'm going to east passage. After progressing some 10 feet, you come level with the door on the north side of the passage, and then the dimly lit tiled corridor continues to a door at the end. Will you open the north door or the door further along? Okay, so So 307 north and 258 east. 7. Okay. I'm going to do the north door, see what happens. You open the door and enter a shrine of some kind. The room is unlit and you need a light source to see by. There are white and yellow cloths on tables, wall hangings decorating the room, small stools, and a writing table. There is also a book lying on a chair which attracts your attention, so you pick it up. It is a history of the lives of some famous holy men and healers, and it has a signature on the flyleaf, that of Gunther Heydrich. You can take this book with you if you wish, if you do add the Book of Healers to your possessions. So 307. Let's say 307, Book of Healers. There is a spy hole on the east wall, and you can stand on a stool to look through it. Beyond, you can see a bare chamber with a pair of zombies standing motionless on guard, holding fearsome halberds. Behind them is a half-open door leading into a bare chamber with stone steps going up. There doesn't seem to be any way of getting into the zombie chamber from here. So you leave and head for the door at the end of the eastern side passage outside. Turn to 258. So already I've actually passed by a lot of stuff. Maybe I'll get to the end quickly. You see that there is a plaque on the door with the inscription Dr. Karl Adenauer. You knock politely, and the wavering but sharp voice answers, "Come." You step in and see a grey-haired, middle-aged man in robes sitting at a desk covered with papers, neatly stacked up in piles. The room is chock-full of books and papers, and the man peers at you over a crystal ball mounted on a dragon's foot, which stands on his desk. "Dr. Adenauer, young man," he says, rather needlessly. "Sage in the employ of Count Rainer Heydrich, wretched man, never gives me enough money for my research. These important books cost a fortune." And he indicates a wall full of books. That's the wrong accent. That was almost French, wasn't it? "Dr. Adenauer, young man, sage in the employ of Count Rainer Heydrich, wretched man, never gives me enough money for my research. These important books cost a fortune." Fortune. That's also, again, I'm doing it in French. Never mind. He might be mixed up in his accent himself, having lived in different places. You never know. He might have lived in Paris for a while, studied in Paris. He might have then moved to Transylvania, and then, of course, to the fighting fantasy world. You never know. And also in the fighting fantasy world, all the accents might be completely on their heads compared to what you would expect. So maybe a German accent, or the equivalent of a German accent in Titan and the fighting fantasy world, might be like Italian accent. "Dr. Adenauer, my young man," he says that rather needlessly, etc. Yeah. So anyway, and he indicates a wall full of bookcases with a sweep of his hand. He looks grumpy, but he isn't hostile. At least he doesn't seem to be. Will you attack him, talk to him, leave, and return to the corridor? That's kind of an obvious kind of choice there. Obviously not going to attack him. Well, maybe. I mean, he might have something that you need that you can only get by attacking him, but it just feels wrong to do anything but talk to him. Return, talk, attack. Oh, that's the long one. You are wondering what to say, but the sage talks freely of his own accord. Mostly he goes on about how mean the Count is, and how he, the sage, needs more money for books. You realize that you're going to have to pay for information, and it isn't going to come cheap. While you're wondering how much to offer and how to do this politely, the sage suddenly announces, "Of course, for a goodly sum in gold, I could get you into the library. Who knows what you might not find in there." You can ask the sage about various matters, but you'll have to pay him for each answer you get. He will accept gold pieces or any treasure items of equal value. You can choose what you want to ask about from the list below, but you must pay for each answer you get. Did I get any starting money, by the way? I don't think I... Did I get any starting money? Oh, that's quite a nice little maplet there. Let's see. Magic, battles, luck, afflictions, equipment. It doesn't say anything about starting with gold. Does that mean that I don't actually have any gold to start with? Actually, it doesn't say. So that means that I must have found the gold. So, and he doesn't haggle, it says. For each question, will refer to the paragraph with his answer, then referred back to this paragraph. You could ask about getting into the library, 6 gold pieces. Where the Count can be found, 3 gold pieces. Relatives of the Count, Nastasia. What's in the crypt, any afflictions, etc., etc. I'll just put this long list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know what? I'm going to do it like this, because you're supposed to return to 75. I'm just going to do like so on my map. 1 4 6, 254 209 185 303 394. Library 6. Count 3. So finding the count is finding the library is twice as valuable as finding the count. Let's see, relatives, rel 3, Nastasia 2, crypt 2, afflictions 2. At least at this point, even though I obviously skipped quite a bit, I haven't received any afflictions. That's a good thing. After you have finished paying for information and reduced the amount of your treasure accordingly, you leave the sage to his musty old books and manuscripts. If the sage has given you an item, you follow his directions. Turn to 332. Otherwise, you leave and return to the passage outside. Turn to 47. So there's obviously another way of moving out from that. Okay, so there's 332. The mystery option, and then there is 47, which is the only one I can take now. So I'm going to go to 47. After careful searching, you find a secret door in the passage on the north wall, some 10 feet from the door at the end of the passage. You open it and enter a bare chamber with a half-open door in the east wall. Standing guard, here are 2 zombies bearing polearms. Your faith will not protect you against these mindless but thoroughly trained guards. Fight the zombies one at a time in the doorway. Trained zombies. Have you ever heard of trained zombies before? Zombies are never trained. They just are after brains, aren't they? Anyway, if you win, go to 348. We go to 348. I'm wondering if I should just actually change pages now, because there is potential for a lot of stuff having gone on this page, which I always forget which number this is because it doesn't say on the book, so I can't remember which number I'm on. And the previous one didn't say a number either, so I'm actually losing track of which number I'm on. But I'll put it on my map later. So let's go to page. Oops, sorry. Bumped into my camera there. Bound to happen sometimes. Okay, and this is page 2. Sorry, I'll just need to put the book down for a moment because this thing is not behaving the way I wanted it to. I was trying to leaf over, and then instead it's just I wanted to detach itself from the pad. 348 is where I am going. 3, 4, 8. Okay. You search the zombies, but they have nothing of value. You pass through the half-open door in the east wall and enter another bare chamber. Here there is a flight of stone steps leading up, and the walls are lit with torches and sconces. You climb the steps, and when you get to the top, you are standing under a shaft of moonlight from a tiny circular window high on the north wall. If you have the lycanthropy affliction, turn to 297. If you have the major lycanthropy affliction, turn to 204. If you have neither, turn to 154. So obviously at this point you might have been turned into a werewolf. Is that what might happen perhaps if you try to get to the castle on foot and you get bitten by wolves and you actually turn into a werewolf? I'm just wondering, because that would actually be quite a nice way of doing it. So 297 204 154. Let's see, lycanthropy. major. Lycanthropy. And neither. 154. There are 2 doors in this bare chamber, so you decide to open one of them. Will it be the door in the south corner of the west wall, or the silver-handled door in the middle of the south wall? Okay. Two, 9, 4, or 1, 3, 1. Silver-handled sounds more fun, doesn't it? 1, 3, 1. You enter a lounge where nondescript carpets and plain wooden furniture litter the scene. You notice wall hangings displaying a bewildering variety of herbs and other plants, and an open door to the west. From the dark doorway, a man enters. He looks absent-mindedly at you. He is middle-aged and has a mane of graying black hair tapering to a widow's peak above his face. Sort of traditional vampire look, I suppose, which is dominated by his pale green eyes. He is dressed simply in white and grey robes, and he carries a tray with a decanter and goblets, which he puts down as he greets you. "I am Gunther Heydrich. What is your business here?" he asks you. He seems kindly enough. Will you talk to him or attack him, being distrustful of any member of the Heydrich family? Okay. Gunther Heydrich, he is the one who wrote the Book of Healers. He sounds like a good guy to me. So I'm going to talk and 92 attack. So I'm going to talk to him. Gunther gives you some food and wine, recover 4 lost stamina points, and tells you of his work as a healer. He is well aware of his brother's evil and denounces Rainer as a cruel, vile creature, but Gunther claims to be no fighter, and in any event he could not bring himself to kill his own brother. Gunther seems weighed down by the evil of the castle, almost in a state of despair. You take a chance to announce that you are here to do away with Rainer Heydrich. Gunther's eyes light up with hope, and he says he will give you the one thing he has which could help. From a carefully concealed pocket inside his robes, he pulls out a silver crucifix on a chain, adding that to destroy Rainer, this will be needed. Add the crucifix to your possessions. Okay, so this is 50. Obviously, it seems to be an essential item on your, what of course we call a shopping list in the game book, things that you need to win the game. We'll also need a stake to drive through Rainer's heart as he sleeps in his coffin, but Gunther does not have one. You'll have to find this elsewhere, unless, of course, you find Siegfried's sword, Night Star. For that also would destroy him, but it has been lost for many years, he said. Unless, of course, you find Siegfried's sword, Night Star, for that also would destroy him, but it has been lost for many years. Again, I'm doing the French. Why am I doing the French? Maybe I should go with the sort of the full Transylvanian, because it's easier than the German accent today. Unless, of course, you find Siegfried's sword, Night Star, for that also would destroy him, but it has been lost for many years. He sighs. Now, will you leave and open the west door on the landing? Ask Gunther for help with an affliction if you have one. Show Gunther a book if you have one. I'm going to show him the book because that's his book. Okay, so that is 317 book, 48 affliction, or 294 west door. So I'm going to show him the book, see if he has anything to say about it, or maybe he can teach me how to do something of healing. If you have the Book of Healers, you decide to show this to Gunther. If you have an affliction, Gunther will help you with this in return for getting the book back. So turn to 375. If you don't have An affliction. Gunther will still reward you for the return of this book, so turn to 235. Okay, so 235. If you don't have this book, but you have the Book of Swords, turn to the paragraph with the same number as the magical page in that book. So there is another option as well, 375. That depends on another book. Okay, so that is Book of Swords. Okay. So I'm going to go to 235 and get my reward for the book. So Gunther thanks you profusely for returning his book and rewards you with a magical potion of healing. Excuse me, I need more. Tea. Okay. Which he has cunningly concealed in a secret drawer in a cupboard. Add this to your possessions. You can drink this at any time except during combat, and it will restore 4 lost stamina points. Thanking Gunther for this valuable gift, you leave and open the west door on the landing. Turn to 294. So, 294. Okay. Even though it feels I've missed a lot, it seems like there's still quite a bit left as well. So that's, yeah. Opening the west door, you see a corridor stretching out towards the west before you. It is well lit, and a thick piled crimson carpet runs along the center of the tiled floor. There is a door close by you on the north wall, and another a little further along. You can also see that there is a door facing you at the end of the corridor, and that the corridor also turns south at this point. Will you close this door and open the south one on the landing if you haven't done so before? Okay, that is 131, so that is the one I've already... okay, so this is going to be quite a tricky mapping thing, maybe, potentially. Because now you have... Oh, because 294 is also there, actually, I just realized. So I'm just going to go like so. Open the north door closest to you, 182. Second north door, west door facing you, follow the corridor around to the south. Just to be sure, that is, there shouldn't be any overlap with the where I've been before. Okay, so so we have doors 131, 294 is back again, and then it is 182. I'm not going to try to make sense of this topologically now. I just have to try to keep track of the numbers so that I don't get confused. 31. I'm wondering if that takes you back where you were earlier. I'm going to try 31. That is following the corridor around to the south. Or should I just do one of the doors? I'm going to do the doors. I'm going to do the door closest to me, 182. So really, I mean, usually when I play these games, I like opening every single door. At least to start with. You open the door and trigger a magical trap. There is a searing flash of light and heat. Lose 4 stamina points. You are partially blinded and can barely see into the darkened room beyond. However, you can just make out the shape of a 4-armed skeletal figure with glowing green eye sockets, armed with a scythe bearing down upon you. You can either fight it, weakened as you are, or try to shut the door and flee. Is it the paper that's smudging? Because now this one is smudging as well. Or is it all my pens are smudgy today? Maybe I should move on to pencil because, well, could be smudgy as well, but in a different kind of way. So 31, and that's so fight, flee. obviously I would win the fight because I'm not rolling dice, but I'm gonna flee. I'm gonna do the what the character would have done in this case. Roll 2 dice and add 3 to the total. If the result is less than or equal to your skill, you just manage to shut the door and get out. Yes. If the result is greater than your skill, you can't escape in time and you must fight. So I managed to escape and go to 320. The spectral creature lunges at you, but his hand stops short of your neck and he hisses in frustration. Your faith has protected you from... Hang on, that's not the right place, is it? 320, not 321. Back in the corridor, you open the north door along the corridor. So that is 267. Open the west door along the corridor. That is 34. Follow the corridor around to the south. That is 31. And that is... Oh, I just put the... I put this in the wrong place now because I was here, not there. So good thing I used a... Don't I have a... I hardly ever use erasers. I don't like using the one on the pencil because that's the one you want to have available for later. Let's see. Do I have any? I suppose I can use this one. So what I want, this was from 182, and then we had 52 fights, 139 flee, and that brings us to 320, which then brings us to I don't like using erasers because of I don't like eraser dust. I think that's one of the reasons. So here we can go to 267 or 31 or like so. Okay. So I'm going to go with the next one here, 267. You open the door and peer into a large, dark room. You take a torch from the corridor to light a lamp in here and then look around. On the block of black marble, draped with black and crimson silk sheets, is a dark wood coffin. Your heart beats rapidly as you advance upon it, but the menace is not within it. It is around you. Thickening and swirling in the air is a rosy, smoky mist, which advances upon you with semi-solid tentacles, trying to strangle you. Cannot see to escape. So you must fight this weird entity. Do you have a magic sword? If you do, turn to 42. Let's see. Do you have a magic sword? 42 or not? Let's see. So 42 or 245. I don't have a magic sword, so I'm going to have to go to 245. Your weapon is useless against the enveloping, choking mist. The tentacles wrap around you and smother the life out of you before you could even deal with the first of the Count's coffins. You have met your doom. The end. So, let's see, where was my red pen? end. So clearly there's work to be done here. I suppose I should explore a bit more in the beginning as well, and explore a bit more in the beginning, and then figure out. But there seems to be some kind of choke points here, and then there's a sort of a slightly open world kind of area here, where you can actually go back and forth in between different rooms. So yeah, okay. I suppose I quite like the beginning of this one, even though it's, as I said, it's not subtle in terms of the sort of the horror of it. It doesn't work on me. The thing about horror stories, I just realized this not that long ago actually, is that usually I am not unsettled or horrified by horror stories, or stories that are supposed to be horror stories. Stephen King, for instance, there's absolutely nothing in any Stephen King story I've ever read that has made me feel unsettled in the way that you can sort of imagine the intention is of a horror story to have that kind of effect on someone. The only horror stories that have unsettled me a little bit so far are the ones I read by Algernon Blackwood. Have some stories that I find a little bit unsettling. Let's see. So I'm not sure if it's actually in this one. So Algernon Blackwood. This is yeah. I haven't read this one yet. I got another one as well. This is one I picked up in a charity shop a while back. And when it comes to films, the only ones I felt unsettled by are, I think, the Hammer horror films I saw when I was a teenager. And the reason why they're unsettling is that they're made to quite a different format than the usual Hollywood horror film. In a usual Hollywood horror film, there might be things that are sort of meant to give you a little. I mean, there are jump scares and things like that, but that's not horror. Jump scare is not horror. But everything is sort of sorted out at the end. The monster becomes visible and defeated, and everything's all right with the world, usually at the end of Hollywood horror film. But in some of the old Hammer horror films, they were sort of, the horror continues after the film. And the reason is that right at the end of the film, something happens that keeps the story going in your mind. It's like, it's not resolved. It's the fact that it's unresolved is actually part of what makes it horrific. And I think that works far better than any other way of doing it. And Algernon Blackwood, I'm not sure exactly what it is he does. I think Algernon Blackwood, I think what actually works, and Bram Stoker is actually doing something similar as well. It's to do with the way that he describes how something makes someone feel, without telling the reader exactly why they should feel that way, why the character is picking up on things, and it's a sort of subtle sense of something not being quite right. And as a reader, you are sort of part of the same journey of experiencing that. And I think that's what really works, especially the first bit of Bram Stoker's Dracula as well. Especially if you imagine that you're an 1880s reader who doesn't know that much about the folklore, and of course now vampires, Dracula is part of popular culture, and of course you read it in a different way. But if you didn't know anything about it, or what was going to be the impetus of the story in the beginning, as you almost inevitably will now if you read it, you will feel unsettled because you don't know what's going on. You don't know exactly what to make of it. So I think that's quite good, and Alden Blackwood does that rather well. Um, Another writer who tries to create an unsettled feeling is, of course, H.P. Lovecraft, but he fails quite miserably because it seems that he had the quite weird notion that using lots of horrible sounding adjectives is what caused someone to feel horror, which is not true. So, of course, he does have some stories. I haven't read that many yet, but I've read some of his short stories, and some of them actually are unsettling. But they are not the ones that just throw lots of adjectives at you. And it's not the ones with the supernatural horror things so much, because that's also not as scary as what is scary in horror is usually when the monster is not a monster, it's just a normal human being that you didn't suspect was a monster. I think that's when it usually becomes scarier. And also, I think when it taps into those sort of basic fears of being alone, being somewhere that you don't know, being afraid of the dark, all those kinds of things. Or well, I said being afraid of being alone, but of course, even worse than being afraid of being alone is feeling that you're thinking you're alone, but feeling like you're not alone. Of course, is probably one of the most fundamental ones, and one that works really well. So, why did I start talking about this again? Yeah, because I was Vault of the Vampire, of course, not subtle in terms of that, and of course, then it's not. To me, it doesn't read like a horror story anymore. Um, unlike actually, it's not easily accessible in my bookshelf because everything is double shelved now. Victoria Hancock's, of course, in her game books, she does the same kind of thing in Night Shift, where you actually feel the tension because you have no idea what's going on. You know something's going on. You are being described the effects of it on a person, and yeah, and that is very effectful, I think, in terms of creating that feeling of unease. I think is the operative thing. Anyway, I wasn't meant to talk about the horror genre so much, but of course, playing Vault of the Vampire is being Vault of the Vampire is something that might bring it out a little bit. The idea of talking about stuff like that. Right. So I'm obviously I'm not going to go into details, but I have been rather busy lately with other things, and I still am rather busy with other things in my daily life. But I will try to cram in some episodes of playing fighting fantasy and other videos on YouTube, of course, every now and again. Now that at least some things of the things that I've been doing or I've had to do have settled down a little bit, and of course there also has been summer holidays and things like that, so it's yeah, there's all different things going on, and I shall see you, whatever the case is, in the next episode of me playing fighting fantasy, I guess, and hopefully I will not leave it too long so that I will be able to continue, excuse me, playing Vault of the Vampire. And of course, it seems I missed quite a lot in the beginning, so I will have to backtrack pretty much back to the start of the book next time as well, and see if I can explore some of the options that I skipped, just to maybe find something there that will help me figure out the puzzle of the path through the book. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. So goodbye for now, and have a nice one until then. It looks like it's a lovely sunny day. I should go for a walk actually. So, oh yes, with the usual stuff. If you want to support my channel, there is Patreon. There is liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing on YouTube, and of course, as you might see behind me, or it might not be obvious from seeing behind me, but I have sort of started a side hustle that I mentioned the last few times as well, of selling books on eBay. So that is books that have read but no, I won't read again. Books that I don't feel like reading for whatever reason, that I've stopped reading, that yeah, things like that. So and because I do end up, after discovering charity shops, I have ended up buying more books than I will ever have the time to read. You don't actually have that much time to read in a lifetime when you think about it. So and I do have lots of books that I haven't read that I know I will read and I know I will enjoy reading, and so the ones that I'm not sure about, I usually just end up well, giving away or selling. So it's a way to keep things tidy, at least to my credit, I guess. All my books, with a few exceptions, with very few exceptions, are actually stored in one room. So actually, I'll just show you around quickly. So we got books, 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 and behind the light there, there's more books. Actually, I could loosen this from the cradle, and there's books, 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 and you see there's this double shelved, quite a lot, double shelved, double shelved, double shelved, and this the white shelf on over, whoops, let's see, here is triple shelved sometimes, and then there's shelves on the wall, and then there's shelves on the wall. So yeah, there's a lot of books, to put it very shortly. And there's room for more as well. But I do try to make sure that if I buy new books, that some books also have to leave, so that I don't get overflowing too much with books. Anyway, and I will put the links to my eBay shop in the description if you're interested in buying some books. It's quite an eclectic mix of books, because I do like to read a lot of different things, and also I do like to, I mean, the kind of things that I'm giving up and trying to sell, also a huge variety of things for this very same reason. So anyway, I'm rambling on now. I do apologize. I will oh, I know why this camera keeps shaking, and it's because I haven't put the cable in the right way. Well, I'll try to avoid that next time. I do apologize. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now. Bye bye.